When they come in that same story.
Balance it out a little bit.
Well, good morning, everyone, and first and foremost, I'd like to thank you for being here today, because the story you report today could potentially save lives out here. This is a message to parents, families, schools, places of worship, and public institutions to be on the lookout for signs and symptoms of the latest health crisis that is killing an average of 160 people a day across our nation. And I'm talking about deaths from drug overdoses. More people died from drug overdoses in 2015 than from motor vehicle accidents. But today, I'm specifically talking about overdoses attributed to heroin and opioids. According to the Centers for Disease Control in 2015, which is our most recent data, 91 people per day died of an overdose of either opioids or heroin. In the past, prescription opioids were blamed for the increase in deaths from overdosing. However, the head of the CDC recently testified before Congress and attributed the dramatic increase in overdose deaths to heroin and synthetic opioids. And those increases are largely due to illicitly manufactured fentanyl. We have not yet seen this level of devastation in Los Angeles County, but it's clear when you look at the public health tracking of overdose deaths across the nation, this opioid epidemic is headed our way. We believe a recent narcotic operation in the Santa Clarita Valley is just an indicator of what's to come for Southern California law enforcement. We've seen a spike in overdoses in the month of April, but particularly during a 72-hour period at the end of that month. The first overdose was a 26-year-old female on April 23rd at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, who was then transported to a local hospital and then later signed herself out and left. Approximately 8 hours later, an overdose death of a 28-year-old male occurred in a park about 8 o'clock at night. The heroin tested from this particular incident did show a presence of fentanyl. 6 more overdoses were either transported or arrived at the hospital between the afternoon of April 24th and the early morning hours of April 25th. One of the overdoses on April 24th occurred in a restroom of a local business. Deputies responded and administered CPR until paramedics arrived and administered Narcan. The patient was stabilized and then transported to a hospital. During the follow-up investigation with the family, they indicated that the patient was an addict and in a residential treatment program. During the same time period, patrol deputies conducted a traffic stop and arrested one person for possession of heroin. That heroin, which looked like tar heroin, tested positive also for fentanyl. Through the